Hello, this is my formal video analysis of, I think this is for Journal 4. And for this analysis, I chose the Empress Eugénie. This is a portrait done by, I believe, is Franz Xavier Winterhalter. This was done in 1854. It's an oil on canvas. The dimensions are 36 inches by 29 inches, and it's currently being shown at the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art. And the birthplace is Germany. So, to kind of jump right into it, I usually read a little blurb on why I chose a painting. And for this one, I found myself drawn to the overall color and the composition of the painting. I find it so beautiful and very fairy tale like and dreamy, so I found myself wanting to kind of talk about it a little bit using the elements discussed in the video reference in the chapter. So to get kind of right into it, we're going to be talking about the scale and composition to kind of get the ball rolling here. So it kind of has this life-size scale to it. She clearly looks like she belongs in the portrait. I'm sorry, my cat is here. Go, move, kitty. Move. Okay. It has this life-size scale to emphasize, I think, like the importance of her as an empress, which is a very commonplace theme that we see in empress life-size portraits. It's almost always done as a way of showcasing their elegance, status, beauty, etc. By putting her in the center, our eyes have no choice but to kind of follow suit and stare right at her. Move my cat. If we kind of zoom in a little bit, this is kind of emphasized no matter where our eyes go. So if we're looking up and down or down and up, we kind of can see that our eyes are always drawn right back into the center. And this is also has a big thing to do with color as well, and the way that her yellow dress kind of sticks out. But to just stay on track here, we're just gonna talk about the overall composition. So the symmetrical arrangement kind of give us this balanced, very organized way of seeing her. And with that, the balance kind of being into account here, we kind of can go right into talking about how depth and perspective and the pictorial space is kind of used. It provides this depth by using the shadow and the light and kind of giving us this fuzzy, soft background elements and how the colors of the shadows of the background lead us into the distance and give us kind of this 3D effect. It's subtle. It kind of still carries this dreamy tone throughout the entire painting, but the perspective we have is mostly gifted by the way that she's completely outlined in this kind of illuminating glow, and the way that the background kind of recedes further back with like this soft, gentle application used primarily here, and with the shadows aren't entirely well defined of the clouds. I mean that they're not entirely large and chunky. They're very soft and stratus and gentle in that way, which makes her pop out even more in the foreground. And if we're talking about the use of form and line and the way that all kind of works together in this painting, there is not one hard line, I think, in this painting. There's everything about her, from her dress to the way her shoulder is with the highlights of it, and the way that even down her face and her nose, there's not one harsh line in this whole thing. Even the trees, if you look up, they have all this kind of gentle, like all of them are just, they swirl and they move together. And in that, to me, has, I think the term, move, my cat is on my paper, curvilinear, oh my gosh, curvilinear lines. And in that way, it kind of, again, adds to that dreamlike fairy tale texture that we were talking about in the beginning. it also brings us like a meticulous attention to the anatomical accuracy and the proportions. So with doing that, we can see, again, this how it fits into the perspective and the composition, is that she looks as if she belongs where she is. The flowers aren't out of scale, or her head isn't too large. Everything around her is kind of, it fits in a way. So moving right along and getting into, like, I think would be the most important part of this, is the color and the lighting and how that all kind of works together. So right off the bat, I did mention that she has this illuminating glow. And if I zoom in, we see it actually like around her. If I scroll down here, you can see it much more on her arm. This kind of shuddering, it looks to be this fast stroke, or it looked like it was brushed out, I think, against the actual grain of the dark greens behind her. And when that's done, we get this beautifully soft, delicate portrait that's seen in a lot of different, oh my gosh, excuse me, get down, seen in a lot of different portraits over time. This is not seen, though, if we look at the way that the flowers are, this tappa thing that was done, this kind of the gentle tapping with the oil against the artist's brush. It's only seen on her skin, and it's only seen on her skin facing the darker outlines and shadows of this greeny patch. It's not even seen that much necessarily in this background color that I would say almost matches her skin tone. So just getting into that, that's one of the primary reasons why this piece would stick out to somebody. I think if, layman speaking or otherwise, they'll be able to understand, okay, she looks goddess-like. She looks like a fairy tale, like she is, she could reach out and touch us, but she has this this air around her, this goddess-like air around her. And that's, again, the primary reason why emperors and emperors, they get their portraits painted and stuff like that. It's all historical. It's all for to make themselves appear more godlike, anointed by God and things like that. So again, about color, we're going to focus now on the gorgeous bright gold dress that she has here, and the shadows and the fabric, and the way that the fabric is shown to be stretched through the use of shadow in these areas right over here, all on this side. All of that shows this immaculate stretch and this pull. And I could even, like, if I were looking at it even a little bit more, this type of fabric it is obviously this kind of lighter, not lighter in the way that, like, obviously this isn't a very fluffy dress, but it seems like, I was going to say polyester, but that definitely didn't exist back then. Whatever type of fabric it is, it's shown to be pulled and done in a very, professional manner, in a way of speaking. It has also a great way of kind of showcasing the texture in this painting as well. If we're going right back into, like, our list of bullet points here, the use of texture being shown is a high point would be here, where all of the dress is being pulled. And in contrast to that, we also have the background. It kind of gives this a way to a smooth transition between, like, the hard lines of the texture of the dress being pulled together, and then we move our eyes to the background of this soft, gentle sky where there isn't too much shadow or too much deviation necessarily. It's very clear that the background was not meant to be overplayed to outshine her or outshine anything about the way that she looks. And speaking of pattern specifically, the only pattern that I can see that's not naturalistic, like not including the what are these flowers? The little lavender flowers or whatever they are, is these pearl beads. I'm zooming in to kind of show these kind of pearl beads that kind of stick around her shoulder, that go down her back. There's like a trivet of them going down her dress here. And that is a huge status symbol. It's a huge symbol of wealth and kind of authenticity to, like, who she is as an empress. it kind of also speaks to the artist's ability to be able to like diligently render these incredibly harsh details while also not overshadowing it and also not making it look too out of sync with the rest of the painting. It kind of shows a lot of mastery in that as well. So as far as overall like composition of it and patterns and perspective, this is a gorgeous painting. It absolutely deserves the hype that it gets, being in a beautiful museum somewhere in New York, which out of my pay grade. But overall, I think it's absolutely stunning. It's especially better now that we can understand the elements of it, that why it is so gorgeous, and the cultural context and the interpretations that we get as well. Overall, that's my formal analysis of it. Thank you very much for watching.